Love very likely is going to work on a buyout with the Cleveland Cavaliers. It hasn't been finalized yet, but all signs and all reports seem to be that, hey, these two sides are going to come to an agreement at some point. Then Kevin Love is going to go to a new team. And there are all kinds of speculations of teams that he could go to that actually do make a lot of sense. Like Miami could really use him. They've been looking for a power forward since PJ left. The Warriors, right? Him and Klay Thompson are like best friends. He go back to the Bay Area and be in a position of just familiarity as well as around friends. And the Warriors are the Warriors, right? So he could make a lot of sense there. There are numerous teams that probably could use him. The Suns are another team that comes to mind. He's still 34 years old, which is older, but it's not like insanely old, especially for his skill set. He's not a very, athletic style player. He's more of like a stretch big, 6'8", power forward, small ball center that can rebound very well still and, knock down the three ball. He's a guy that, when he's played center or power forward, he still is a guy that's shooting, 39 to 38% from three. This year, he is shooting a little worse, but he's also really regressed as far as like the rotation goes. So how much is it just the lack of opportunity, and how much is it just, he's having an off year? He's still in an off year is giving you just under 9 points and just under 7 rebounds per game in limited time, in limited run with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So I do think he's a guy that still has some real value in the right team, in the right situation. But his thing is he wants to play, right? He's not going to go to a team that doesn't provide him playing time. That's his issue with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's basically fallen out of the rotation. So why would he want to go from one team where he's just sitting on the bench and not playing to another team where he's just sitting on the bench and not playing? Now, there is a difference between LA and Cleveland, but still, nonetheless, he's a basketball player. He wants to play basketball. He wants to earn his money, which is what you want. And so the Lakers is a team that has been mentioned numerous times since Kevin Love has been a buyout option. And he makes some sense. A veteran locker room guy, a guy that could come in and provide some stability, a guy that has a relationship and won a championship with LeBron James. And we got a report from Brian Windhorst that basically says that the Lakers are kicking the tires on Kevin Love, and that Kevin Love to the Lakers could be a thing. There are also several other reports, but this is the most recent one that actually kind of is by a person that would know, right? So count the Los Angeles Lakers among the teams reportedly interested in Cleveland Cavaliers veteran big man Kevin Love if he receives a contract buyout as expected. Appearing on the Dan Patrick Show, ESPN NBA insider Brian Windhorst said that the Lakers are definitely kicking the tires on the possibility of signing Love. So again, Kevin Love to the Lakers could be a possibility, could make a little sense, right? Now, the Lakers are obviously the revamped Lakers. They're a team that has just completely changed the landscape of their roster, and it's looked good so far, right? You basically have this starting five, which was the starting five in the most recent game, which is the starting five that I imagine the Lakers continue to use going forward. Maybe certain matchups, you tweak a thing here and there, right? So, like, let's say we're playing Minnesota. Maybe you start, a Mo Bamba just to kind of match the size. But 90% of the time, I imagine this starting five is going to be the starting five. The Lakers really need lineup stability, right? That's something that they need badly. They have 30 different starting lineups. They lead the league this year in starting lineups. So they need, again, that stability. So this is very likely your starting five: D'Lo, Beasley, LeBron, Vanderbilt, and Anthony Davis. Really good, really quality starting five, in my opinion. Looked good so far. But what would the bench unit look like with Kevin Love, right? So my guess is something along these lines, right? You would have Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Kevin Love, and Mo Bamba. And maybe because one of the big things Kevin Love lacks is defense. He is not a good defender by any means. He's a liability in many ways on the defensive side. But if you had a guy like Mo Bamba, who already shown in just the one game he's played for the Lakers, the ability to block shots, be a help defender, that could be valuable next to Kevin Love. Kevin Love's ability to stretch the floor as well as Mo Bamba. And then you have Rui Hachimura. Like, this would be a very good just scoring lineup off the bench, right? But the thing is that, like, this would essentially mean, one, winning Gabriel is probably out of the lineup entirely. Not that he might even be out of the lineup regardless, even without Kevin Love returning. And yes, you could run Kevin Love at the 4. You could run him at the small ball 5 in certain lineups, certain matchups. But also, Rui, yes, they are playing him at the 3 a lot, but he is best at the 4. That's what he's pretty much played. He can hold his own. Like, the issue, he's got good size, good strength, everything, right? But the foot speed is a real issue for Rui, right? Just his lateral quickness is a real issue for Rui. So having him and Kevin Love on the wings defensively in that second unit could be a little rough, right? But offensively, be pretty good. And you'd have Austin Reeves and Dennis Schroeder as like the playmakers that could really kind of set guys up. If Kevin Love was to come to the Lakers, realistically, he's probably only playing, a couple minutes, probably playing maybe 10, 15 minutes at the most. He'd just kind of be more of like that veteran guy that comes in, be a locker room guy, kind of help grow and develop some of the younger guys, the Rui Hachimuras, the Jared Vanderbilts, guys like that, right? I mean, Kevin Love went from being a pretty much primary post player to one of the best stretch bigs in the league. That in and of itself is something that I think could be very valuable, right? Something that could, maybe rub off on a Rui Hachimura, who his midi is absolutely butter, right? But the 3-point shooting, he's not as consistent from 3. Maybe working with a guy like Kevin Love could kind of help that. Jared Vanderbilt, right? He's not really a 3-point threat, but maybe he could kind of help with that. In my opinion, though, if you're going to run Kevin Love, I think you have to have like a Vanderbilt and an AD, maybe even both, right? To kind of offset Kevin Love as a lack of defender, right? Like Mo Bamba has shown that he can block shots, but there are questions about his help defense, and there are questions about, his foul trouble, things like that, right? But if you had a guy like Anthony Davis alongside your Kevin Love, well, Anthony Davis is one of, if not the best help defenders in the league. So he can just make up and cover so much ground that his veteran just defensive presence would make up for a lot of Kevin Love's lack of defense. And then if you also had like a Jared Vanderbilt slot, then, I would almost run Kevin Love as like your LeBron alternative, right? Like, so like basically Kevin Love would come in for LeBron, right? And then you have AD and Vanderbilt alongside him. And then, you swap out Vanderbilt and like Kevin Love for like Rui and put LeBron back in, put in Mo Bamba. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of alter and just change those lineups, right? I don't know how good defensively this lineup specifically would be, but it would be interesting. It'd be definitely fun to watch. I'm not completely against Kevin Love. It's not my favorite signing. As a Kevin Love fan, as somebody, that UCLA guy, has LA ties, like, I grew up watching him, right? Minnesota, all of that stuff, right? Like, the fan in me is always like, man, I've always wanted to see Kevin Love in purple and gold. It would have been great to see it, especially, 5, 6, 7 years ago now, would have been really nice, right? But in general, like, the fan in me is like, yes, I would love to see Kevin Love. But the basketball sense in me is like, well, who is he going to play over? How many minutes is he going to play? Does it make a lot of sense for him? Does it make a lot of sense for the Lakers? I mean, playoff wise, having him as like a guy who's been there and been in the moments and hit shots and stuff like that, I do think he does have some value, right? Like 2 minutes left in the game. You need a bucket or something. You could go put Kevin Love in to knock down that bucket, get you some rebounds and stuff. And then hopefully he can hold his own just a little bit defensively. One of his greatest moments ever was locking up Steph Curry for a play. I'm not expecting that, but it's just, I don't hate the idea of Kevin Love. I just don't want him. I don't want Darvin Ham kind of falling in love with the veteran big man, and it jeopardizes things, because we've seen Darvin Ham also kind of like, oh, I like these guys. I like the veteran guys. I like the Patrick Beverleys. I like these things. And now Kevin Love is getting heavy minutes, and it's hurting us more than helping us. I think Kevin Love in like 10 to 12 minute spots, like increments, I think could help tremendously. His rebounding, his 3-point shooting, his passing, like just his ability to do those types of things, I think could be very huge, very impactful for this Lakers team. But any more than that, I just think it gets rough, because it's just like you really would have to mask him on the defensive end, and it's not impossible, especially if you're running, like him with like Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, Anthony Davis, basically all of like your defensive guys. If you're doing that, then yeah, I think it could work. I think you can make it work. But anyway, as always, is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Are you all for Kevin Love? Are you not? I know I've touched on this before, but we're really starting to see a lot of reports of Kevin Love to the Lakers, and that the Lakers are really interested in it. So it wouldn't shock me if it happens. Kevin Love, LeBron James, they have that connection, they have that tie, but I don't know if it makes a lot of sense for Kevin Love. I don't think he's going to play the minutes that he wants to play, but you never know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comments.